You know, if you're a creator, you definitely know this feeling. It's that daily existential crisis, right? You spent, I don't know, 40 hours making this incredible video.
And then you have what, 5 minutes?
Exactly. 5 minutes to pick a title and thumbnail.
Yeah.
It's pure agonizing guesswork.
It's the single biggest point of friction in the whole workflow. I mean, historically, creators had to rely on just intuition, or maybe that sequential testing.
Oh, that's the worst. Uploading A for a day, then swapping to B.
Right, and it's always slow, it's never really accurate, and the whole thing is just skewed by who sees it first. You were basically shooting in the dark.
Exactly. But today, we are diving deep into YouTube's own solution. The official built-in A/B testing feature. This thing is designed to kill the guesswork by letting real viewers, in real time, tell you what works.
It's like giving creators a controlled, randomized scientific experiment for their own content. And that control is everything. The function is super clear. Test up to 3 variations of titles, thumbnails, or both at the same time against your real audience.
So our mission for you today is to get past just knowing where the button is. We really need to unpack the mechanics, the how, and most importantly, how YouTube defines best.
Because that metric, that one definition, it changes everything about how you should be thinking about your strategy.
Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah.
We have to start with the logistics, right?
Okay.
Because if you don't even meet the requirements, the feature it won't even show up for you.
Right. First, barrier to entry. It is exclusively in the YouTube Studio desktop.
So no mobile app.
Nope. If you're trying to manage your channel from your phone, you are not going to find this. It really signals that YouTube sees this as a serious, high-level tool, not some quick-on-the-go fix.
I do appreciate the flexibility, though. You don't have to be scrambling to set this up while you're in the middle of a new upload.
No, you can also run these tests on a previously uploaded video. You just go to the video's details page, and the icon is right there, below the title and thumbnail section.
Which means you can go back and optimize your entire back catalog. That's huge. You're not just limited to future videos.
Huge. And once you're there, you hit your first real choice. What are you testing? And the sources are really clear. There are 3 very specific options.
Okay, so option 1 is title only. You can put in up to 3 different titles, but you have to watch that character count.
Yeah, there's a hard limit of 100 characters or less for each one. No exceptions.
Which is probably a good thing. It forces you to be brief and clear.
It's a great strategic nudge, really. Then option 2 is the visual side, thumbnail only. You upload 3 different images, see which one people are drawn to.
But the third option, this seems like the most powerful one to me. You can test the title and thumbnail combined.
This is where the real data is. You get to test 3 distinct pairs. Because a great title and a great thumbnail can still fail if they don't work together.
Right, if they promise 2 different things. This option tests the entire package.
But before we get to running the test, we have to stress the limitations. The eligibility constraints are really important.
This feature is strictly for public and long-form videos.
Exactly. So that cuts out a lot of content. For instance, if your video is marked as made for kids, you can't use it. Same for content that's flagged for mature audiences.
And no live streams either.
Yeah.
It's really focused on that traditional, evergreen, long-form content, the kind of video that needs to survive on search and suggested traffic over time.
That's the sweet spot. Okay, so once you're set up and you launch the test, this is where we really get into the deep dive, because the methodology is what makes the results trustworthy.
So how does YouTube actually split the audience? I mean, is it just showing it to my subscribers, or is it random people?
It is true randomization across all impressions. So if you've got your 3 options, let's call them package A, B, and C, YouTube automatically splits the audience into 3 equal groups.
So one group sees A, one sees B, one sees C.
Precisely. And this ensures the results are based on real performance, and it eliminates all that bias from sequential testing, where time of day or some news event could skew everything.
Okay, this is where the big strategy pivot happens. Because the success metric that YouTube uses, it is not what most people think it is.
Not even close. If you asked most creators what A/B testing it for, they'd say to get the highest click-through rate, right? The highest CTR.
Of course. But that is not what determines the winner here.
Absolutely not. And this is probably the most important thing you'll take away today. The winning option is determined by the highest watch time share.
Watch time share. And that one metric, That changes the entire goal of your packaging, doesn't it?
Fundamentally, you're not just trying to get the most clicks anymore. You're trying to get the click that leads to the most engagement, the most audience retention.
So just to be clear, watch time share is basically the average viewing time generated by impressions of that specific package.
You got it.
So if my title A gets 100 clicks, but everyone leaves after 30 seconds, and title B only gets 80 clicks, but those viewers watch 80% of the video.
Title B wins, hands down, every time. It's really a test of how accurate your promise was. A clickbait title might get a ton of clicks, but the watch time will be terrible. So it will lose to an option that got fewer, but much more qualified clicks.
It shifts the entire focus from optimizing for that first impression to optimizing for, like, viewer loyalty.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about how long this all takes.
Yeah.
The sources were clear that the duration can vary a lot.
From a few hours to several weeks, right? That's a massive range.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to move quickly, why would one test finish in a day and another just sit there for 2 weeks?
It really boils down to the quality of the signal you're giving the system. The first factor is the distinctiveness of the options.
Meaning how different they are from each other.
Yes. The system needs to find a statistically significant difference between A, B, and C. If you just, tweak a background color slightly or change one word in a long title, it's really hard for the system to get a clear signal and declare a winner.
So the more dramatic the difference is, a totally different layout, a completely different tone in the title, the faster the test will finish.
That's the incentive built right in. You're rewarded for clear, distinct hypothesis testing. The second factor is just pure math, traffic volume.
More eyeballs, more data, faster result.
More data always equals a quicker conclusion to any statistical test.
But I still have control, right? If I'm 2 days in and option A is just completely crushing the other two, I don't have to wait for the system to make it official, do I?
No, absolutely not. You can stop the test early at any time and manually pick your winner. That's super important for timely content where you need that momentum.
Okay, good. So let's say the test has run its course. How do I actually see the data, and what happens when a winner is chosen?
You just go back to that same video details page and click Check Test Report. When it's all done, the winner will have a big, clear winner label right there in the report.
And here's the best part. YouTube automatically applies it for you. It sets that winning title or thumbnail on your video so you don't even have to do it manually.
Right, the implementation is automatic. But you might also see a more confusing result. You might get a label that says same performance.
And my first reaction would be, great, they're all equally good. But that's probably not what it means.
Not quite. What it really means is that there was no statistically significant difference in the watch time share. So yeah, they might have been equally effective, but it often means they were all equally ineffective.
So you didn't create enough of a difference to move the needle at all.
Exactly. They are, statistically speaking, the same.
So if you get that same performance label, what does the audience end up seeing? What's the default?
The system will default to displaying the very first title or thumbnail that you loaded when you started the test. So a pro tip is to always make sure your first option is your safe bet or your personal favorite.
Good to know. And no matter what, you can always override the system, right? You can manually pick a different one if you want.
Always. And you can even run a new test. But, and this is a big but, starting a new test will completely delete the results of the previous one.
Oh, wow. So you lose that data forever.
It vanishes. So before you hit reset, make sure you've screenshotted or recorded that report because you can't get it back.
Okay, that brings us to advanced strategy. We're past the buttons and rules. Now it's about how to actually use this thing well.
And it all comes back to that winning metric, watch time share. It means you have to shift your thinking from clickbait to clarity.
The goal is to use that title and thumbnail combo to be a perfectly clear signpost for what's in the video.
So that the person who clicks is the right person, the person who will actually stick around and watch.
So what are the top strategies the sources recommended?
The first one is so simple, but people miss it. Test title and thumbnail combinations. Testing them separately is fine, but testing them together gives you that real-world data on which complete package actually works best.
And they also suggested a really smart, phased approach to get started.
Yeah, they said to start with your older videos. This does two things. First, you get comfortable with the tool on low-stakes content. And second, you can potentially breathe new life into a video that's already flatlined.
And once you get a feel for what your audience responds to, then you can move on to testing your brand new uploads.
Exactly. It's a way to build a baseline of what works for you.
Let's get really granular on the thumbnail advice, because this is where the art meets the science. You have to make 3 genuinely different versions.
You really do. The advice is to use fundamentally different layouts and compositions. Change the background, change the text overlays, change where you're placing objects. You need to be testing different visual ideas.
And the sources gave us 4 key design principles for this. The first one was balance and focal point.
This is just basic design 101. Your thumbnail needs a clear focal point. The viewer's eye needs to know where to look in that split second they see it in their feed.
Number 2 is a big one. High contrast.
Non-negotiable. I mean, think about it. People are scrolling on their phones, probably in dark mode. If your subject doesn't pop against the background, it becomes invisible mud.
Right. And the third principle is about being efficient. Minimal text.
People are scrolling so fast. Too much text is just visual clutter. It's impossible to read. The image should convey the emotion, and the title can provide the facts.
And finally, they mentioned using depth of field and empty space.
Yeah. Use that empty space to draw the eye to your subject. Blurring the background, for example, creates that separation and makes the whole thing look more professional and dynamic.
That is just a phenomenal amount of actionable strategy. We've covered where to find the feature, how the audience is split, that crucial metric of watch time share, and even design principles for better thumbnails.
It's a complete roadmap. The tool gives you the data, but you, the creator, have to provide the smart hypotheses to test. And remember, the real goal isn't just to follow the rules, but to make sure your title and thumbnail work together to promise and deliver value.
To find that perfect package that doesn't just get any click, but gets the right click from the viewer who's going to stay. It's an incredibly powerful tool.
So what does this all really mean? If you think about it, the sources kept saying that the more distinct your options are, the higher the contrast, the more dramatic the changes, the faster the A/B test finishes. The system finds a signal faster, which sort of suggests that the algorithm itself rewards choices that are visually or linguistically bold just to speed up the test. And that raises a really interesting question for you to think about. As a creator, does this subtly incentivize you to make your packaging more extreme, more simplified, and maybe less nuanced, just to get that data back faster? It's something to consider as you start your own testing.